What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Interception Unit. So this was one of the other vehicles that is going to be returning from one of the older motor passes in the game. I also never actually got this car either, so I'm pretty excited to try it out. And what I've been hearing is the regular C8 seems to be pretty dang good as well, so I'm wondering how the Interception Unit is going to compare to that one. But nonetheless though, I think we can all agree this car definitely looks pretty awesome with this body kit on it. And one thing I also do want to point out, guys, that I would say many players are probably going to like is this car is going to be pretty dang unique. The main reason why I say that is if I went and take a look at the regular C8 over here, I noticed right away that the body kit on this car is not going to resemble the one that's on the Interception unit. So I would say that car is going to be pretty dang rare. And personally, I think the kit that's on the Interception unit looks a lot better than this one. What's kind of funny is I never really noticed how some of the cars are actually going to be like unique and or rare. I thought they were honestly just like copy and pasted from the regular vehicles. But it does turn out, guys, that some of these vehicles do have special kits on them that you actually cannot get. So I do think that's going to make many players happy, but also make you want to go after some of these vehicles even more. And not only that, though, that front bumper piece on this thing looks awesome. And similar to the Bugatti Chiron as well, it looks like it's going to have the flashing lights on the front, so I do like that. I kind of get annoyed when only the top lights flash on the car. Like, I know it's an interception unit, so can I have some lights on the front as well? It'd be kind of cool to see like lights on the bumpers or something, maybe even lights coming off the back, but regardless, I would say many players are probably going to like the interception unit. I mean, to be honest, guys, I'm actually digging the look of this vehicle over the regular one. I also think having the lights on there make this thing insanely unique. And by the way, if you guys do want to buy this vehicle, it costed me 430,000 bucks. I'm not 100% sure if that's because of this season pass. It might be, so it might be a little bit more. But regardless, I would say the C8 isn't going to be too insanely expensive. So now taking an outside look of the C8 Interception unit, I would say this car is definitely going to be many players' favorite. For one, guys, the fitment on the body kit on this car actually looks really good. And by the way, I kind of want to start a war in the comments. What is your favorite Corvette generation? Like, do you guys like the C5, the C6, the C8? I do want to know what you guys think. Personally, I would say one of my favorites is probably the C7. I've always been a big fan of the new ZR1s. I think those look awesome. Also looking forward to seeing the new C8 ZR1 for that matter, but let's take a listen. And then moving over to the interior view of this car, I do not believe there's anything insanely special about the interception unit, although I would say they did a great job with the detail of the C8. Like, this thing looks really good. And then taking a look at the dash, it looks like it does have a gear indicator and or the RPM reader. Plus it looks like it will have the miles per hour and or it looks like that's going to say kilometers, which is kind of interesting, but regardless, I would say this car is going to have a ton of detail. So now besides all that, let's see what the top speed of the C8 interception unit is actually going to be. So one thing I have to admit, guys, I really haven't used the regular C8 all that much. I would say I've basically not used that vehicle since it did come out, so I might actually have to jump back into that car. And one thing I do want to mention, this car is going to be an 8-speed as well, so if you guys are running manual, be prepared to shift a lot more often than you probably want to. But besides that though, let's see what the C8 can actually get to with a nitro chemisette. So hitting the nitrous now, 246, it looks like 247 I would say is going to be maxed out. So an actual top speed for the C8 is probably going to be like 245 because you don't want to go through most of your nitrous trying to get to that top speed. So overall though, 245 is going to be pretty dang good. It's not going to be the new fastest car in the game, but it can definitely keep up with some of the better ones, and or it's going to be faster than many of the other street cars as well. I have been noticing many of the street cars tend to do like 240, like 235-ish, so this thing's going to be a little bit faster, and it's not going to be able to keep up with a Countach, but I would say it can definitely compete against them. But now let's test out the C8 interception unit a little bit more in one of the races here. So I did mention before this car is going to be an 8-speed, which is honestly not that big of a deal, but I have been finding myself being in manual. You will end up shifting this car a lot more often than you probably want to, and depending on what event you guys might be in, it might be kind of hard to find the gearing for this car really to get it to that sweet spot. For example, like the Superleggera or some of the other cars, even like the Porsche 911 GT, those cars have like 6 gears or so, so I think it's going to be a little bit easier to be in the right gear around corners. You can also find yourself basically flying at them a lot easier as well, but I really don't think it's going to hurt this car in any way because I'm actually a big fan of the C8s in real life. Like, they've been kind of growing on me. I've been kind of weird about them for a little bit. Like, I do like the C7s more, as I mentioned earlier, but to be honest, I would say the C8s are pretty awesome, and having something like this in the game is pretty dope. I actually did miss out on this car when it did come out, so that's kind of unfortunate, but luckily they did indeed bring it back, so I'm pretty happy to see them bringing old cars back from these older motor passes and older seasons as well. But I'm wondering what car they're going to bring back next episode as well. Let me know what car you guys would like to see come back, and or a bike. I would say that KTM EXC Nighthawk looking bike is probably one bike I think everybody should have. I know not everybody's a big fan of the motocross bikes in the game, but my goodness, that thing was insane. So hopefully we'll see something like that come back in the future. But I would say one of the biggest takeaways with the C8 Interception unit is probably going to be the way this car looks. I mean, the first thing I thought about when I saw it is I was like, I need to go look at the regular C8 to see if I can actually make that one look like this. And it turns out you cannot make that car look like this one basically in any way. So you're also going to have the lights, which I didn't show. If you guys did want to check that out, by the way, it's just the front lights on there, then the ones on the top as well, similar to the Bugatti. So at least the lights on the car actually work. I kind of get annoyed, as I did mention earlier as well, about how some of the lights on the top only work and none of the other lights on these vehicles, and or they don't have them at all either. I think it would be kind of cool to be able to add some of the lights to some of the vehicles as well, but then again, if you could probably do that, it would most likely take away the uniqueness of some of the vehicles, so I kind of understand that. But overall, I would say the C8 Interception unit's definitely going to be worth a look, and for a little over 400,000 bucks, I don't really think this car is insanely expensive. Now, of course, it's not going to be the fastest street car in the game compared to like the Superleggera, but I would say this car can easily compete with some of the better ones, and not only that, it's going to look insanely good while doing it.